All right. Well, it's team meeting time here. I'll give you a little idea of what's going on. So we're right before the final match of the season. Go over here and look at the competitions. We've been pretty good since I came on. We've had 5 matches. We won 3 of them and then drew 2. We are in 7th place. A victory here would put us up into 6th place, assuming that Taiwan Power Company don't win. They are playing against Chinese Petroleum. They've lost 4 in a row, which I think would bode fairly well for us. We, on the other hand, are playing against the Skywalkers, Taipei Skywalkers, who we beat actually pretty recently in a friendly. They beat Chinese Petroleum, though, who beat us. So you can read into that what you want. And so, I mean, we'll see what happens. We really need a win. We need a win for us, and we need a loss for the Taiwan Power, who are ahead of us. If we lose this match, we have to hope that Tainan City don't win. And so we'll take a look and see what they're doing. Yeah, they're playing Hongyuan, who just tied with us. So hopefully they lose, because if we finish in 8th, then it's game over. A 7th place finish means that we would play a relegation playoff with whoever is coming up from the league under us, which I would figure we'd have a good chance of winning, but you never know. So we'll see what we can do. I didn't dig us into this mess. I've actually done fairly well, I think. We'll see what the board has to say about the match performance. Overall, it was fairly good, with the exception of this match against Hongyuan, where we drew 1-1, and I'm not quite sure what exactly they're upset about. The supporters also don't seem to have anything negative to say, but are unhappy that we didn't win. So overall, though, our matches seem to have done fairly well against expectations and against the odds. So let's see what happens here. And as far as the team talk is concerned, let's see here. So we've never gotten ourselves in a position. We're going to the last game. We need to rely on other results to avoid relegation. Go out there and make sure you pick up the win to at least give us a fighting chance. There's a lot of pressure. The relegation battle has gone down to the last day, and our fate isn't in our hands. At this point, we have to do all we can to give ourselves a chance, and then hope things elsewhere go our way. Avoiding relegation is out of our hands. Put in a good performance to end the season, and don't get distracted by scores and matches which are out of your control. Or relegation was always a real possibility for us this season, hence our fate being out of our hands on the final day. Just go out there and end the season in a positive manner. I'm going to actually say this, and people are going to get mad at me. Yeah, a couple of people are upset. This is one of those things where it's probably a good idea to take a screenshot of this and keep this on file, because this will tell you right here which players you want to get rid of. Chen Yuchun you don't want to have, Su Ho Han you don't want to have, Zheng Jiamin you don't have, and Huang Zhiyuan you don't want to have. The rest of them, I think these are okay responses. We'll just say that's pretty good. Yeah, Sam seems to be happy with this. Just these 4 who are not good. And so then we can go ahead and look and just sort of make sure that none of them are starting the next match at the very least. So, you know, it's a difficult proposition. It's very, very difficult to come into a situation like this where you have, problems that are not really, caused by you. That were caused by whoever was in charge earlier, and you then try to come along and fix it as best as you can. Not exactly the easiest thing in the world to do. Let's just take a real quick look and make sure, Chen Yuchun is not going to start, thankfully. Su Ho Han, I never start him. These are guys who have not played particularly well. In fact, they're guys who I'm tempted to just release outright. Su Ho Han, by the way, was determined. So anyway, take that what you take of that what you might. Zheng Jiamin hasn't played very well for us either, and Huang Zhiyuan also is another player who hasn't played very well for us. There's 4 players who we honestly probably would be okay just getting rid of completely. I'm not sure. I mean, we'll have to see what happens in terms of transfers later on, but I mean, you look at injury susceptibility, and then, unambitious, and that's part of the problem, right? These are guys who just want to show up and don't really care what happens. This was a whole bunch of dotted lines and is now a single solid orange line. So, I mean, sometimes I feel like it's just totally random what Football Manager gives to you. I mean, whatever. My hope is that we can win this match. I really hope that we can win this match because I like this team. I like what we have. I like what we've been able to build up so far. And I really think that if we were to win this match and stay on for the rest of the season, I think that we have a pretty good chance of doing very, very well next season, and maybe being a season or two away from finishing first in this league. Yeah, if it doesn't work, though, it doesn't work. I mean, we can go take a quick look over here at the job center and just see what else would be potentially available should we completely fail out of this. So, I mean, what we would be looking for, of course, are manager jobs. This is going to, of course, take a second because this stuff is not up to date with the way that I had it before, and it's not up to date because I had to change computers. So let's see if it lets me actually click the way that I just clicked. Up, see, clicks on, then clicks off again. Good old Football Manager. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I really look forward to the day when the new version of Football Manager, like with the new underlying engine, is out, which hopefully will solve some of these problems. I think that a lot of problems that exist with this game come because of the way that it is programmed at the most basic level. If we were to lose and have nothing going on, I'm not quite sure where we would be able to go from here, as in I'm not sure who would necessarily be willing to take us. Take a quick look around. I'm not really I don't really want to go over to England, go to the Championship or League One right now because it gets us a long way away from the original goal. We kind of want to stay away from going to anywhere in Europe. We could go over to Japan, which would be really interesting. Could go to South Korea, assuming that we're okay with kind of hanging on in Asia. I mean, we can always go to Vanuatu if we really want to go back right away and try to fix things up over in Oceania. Though, and I've said this before, I mean, I don't really see how that's any different than what we had, in American Samoa. And that's really about it. The thing that I'm really interested in looking at here, let's go over to job security and see what we can find. What I'm really interested in seeing is if there's any sort of chance that we could get into a team in New Zealand, which I think would give us a much better chance of winning Oceania out pretty soon. And it's one of these kind of weird things where, in theory, you go into this sort of save and you think, oh, yeah, I want to take my time. I want to really establish myself in a bunch of countries that nobody plays in. But sometimes you're like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to go to Tonga or to Vanuatu or someplace like that and spend a lot of time in a really confusing league structure. At some point in time, I really want to go straight back to what the original purpose of the save was. So I don't know. We'll take a look and see what comes up and see what we can find. Because I'm on the second profile, as you'll remember, the first profile had to be deleted because, again, of bugs within the game. I don't quite have the reputation that I had at one point in time, which is also problematic because that means that I have to spend a little bit of extra time trying to build up a good record so that we can start getting clubs coming after us instead of having to do this part of the game. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens as we move forward. I'm not sure if the job security screen is ever going to open up. So this video might end up coming to an abrupt end. This is another thing that you kind of have to worry about when you get into this sort of save. Oh, look, it finally opened up. Yeah, you think that it would take long enough. What you would think is that you would be able to easily open this up and then make all these changes later on, but apparently not. For some reason, the game is designed that way. There are a couple of unstable jobs in New Zealand, but I think that these are, for the most part, not professional teams. Semi-professional, which is okay. That's kind of what we have now. And this is going to be an amateur team. We want to stay away from amateur teams as much as we possibly can. What would be great is if we could go over to a really, really good team. I'm not sure. I don't know my New Zealand football that well. But if we could go over to a team that's professional in nature, semi-professional, if we could find a team that's professional, we'd be even better off. And that would... that's an amateur club. So we could take a little bit of time and sort of go through it and see if we can't kind of force ourselves into something. If we end up losing and if this team ends up being relegated, it would be really nice though if we could go, like I said, to something like Auckland City, go to a professional team, start buying a whole bunch of good players, and get out of Oceania and get past this stage quickly. My thought is that, and this all depends upon what happens, of course, in this upcoming match, but my thought is that it might be wise to try to get through some of the uglier stages of the Hexagon Challenge quickly, as in Oceania, maybe also Africa, so we can try to get to the more meaty part first. But yeah, we'll see what happens. That's kind of the way that this is. You don't have that much control over your future. We may end up having to do a little bit of a journeyman here beforehand before we can find ourselves in the position where it's easy to start winning some of these Champions Leagues. So we'll see what happens. First things first, though, we want to win. If we can win this match and stay with this team that we're with right now, that would be excellent. If we could win and we could stay put, we could get the personnel moved around a little bit, and maybe 1 or 2 seasons down the line, end up finishing first, and then going off to the Asian Cup or something like that, whatever cup it is, and then go from there. It should be a little bit easier maybe to go back to Oceania, find something good. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.